Welcome back to Nottingham, here at the Highfield Sports Centre, just next to the university campus. Very big campus and a very big site, and a very big man to my right in the commentary box, Lochman Ho from Germany, from the German Men's Open. We'll talk quickly, we'll talk about your experiences so far, but first off, we're just going to give a rundown on our next game, the teams. We've got Belgium against Scotland in the Women's Open. Belgium number 1, Samantha Verbois. Number 2, Jane Gimber, she's the captain. 3 is Audrey Commune. 4 is Erica Nagels. 5, Letitia Devilwaring. 6 is Hannah Granger-Clemson. 7, Yvette Andres Munoz. 8 is Ella Stallert. 9, Jane Martins. 10, Penelope Spencer. 11, Gianne Delafontaine. 12 is Louise van Eek. 13, Florence Lacrosse. 14, Joke van Kouwenberg. 15, Sophia van Gansen. And 16 is Sophie de Keersmaker. Quick rundown of the Scotland team. Number 1 is Tiggy Armstrong. 2, Hannah Crisp, she's the captain. 3, Rebecca Klingon. 4, Olivia Harris. 5, Gabriella Adams. 6, Carmen Cree. 7, Amy Sutton. 8, Emma Robson. 9, Grace Burton. 10 is Suzanne Brownie. 11, Roisin Bolt. 12, Amy Martin. 13, Alexandra Ward. 14, Katie Green. 15, Alex Watson. And 16 is Fiona Craig. As the hooter goes for the start of this game, Belgium tapping off in their red shirts, playing from left to right. Scotland defending in the blue, and Belgium getting a chance to stake a claim early doors deep in the Scottish territory. That's not going to be given because that was the half. That's Jane Gimber, the captain. That definitely wasn't allowed. You could maybe hear in the background, we certainly could hear it in the commentary box, the half being called, and that's exactly the decision that was being given by the referees. Lochman, before we turn on to your experiences so far, just talk us through what you're expecting from this game from the Belgians and the Scots.
So I get as with most of the games here in the opens category, we're expecting it to be a pretty physical encounter. Going to be pushing each other hard down and rocking hard in the middle.
That's Suzanne Brownie, number 10, just taking the ball in. Interesting you say it's going to be a physical game because touch is a minimal contact sport. We'll come on to that in just a second as Scotland look to get the ball wide, but it's a 6th touch and a turnover, and Belgium clear their lines up their left wing. So you talk about it being physical but a minimal contact. How do you get that balance between the two?
So in touch, as you see right now, that the touch itself is actually seen as a contest. So that is a hard. I believe that was a hard touch. But although the rules stipulate that the touches of the minimal contact, you're actually allowed to push off each other and try to dominate the ruck. And the defenders are trying to get in front of the player trying to make the roll ball, and the roll ball player is trying to get to the side.
As Belgium look to open the scoring, lovely pass out there from Audrey Commune. Comes to hand, gets shut down by the Scots. Ball comes back into the middle. That's Florence Lacrosse. Finds Ella Stallert. Takes the touch. Here comes the pace from Lacrosse. The dive comes in from Louise van Eek, but touched on the way down. That's the 5th touch. There's one more play for Belgium before the ball is turned over. That's why it's gone wide. It doesn't matter that it's hit the deck. Scotland get the play back anyway and get the chance to clear their lines from deep. So when you're playing men's open, as opposed to say mixed, do you prefer playing men's because it allows you that little bit of extra physicality?
Actually, I do prefer playing men's open. In Germany, we don't. In mainland Europe, we don't get so many chances to play men's open. But yeah, I do enjoy the physicality in it.
And here come the Scots for the opening touchdown. That's 7, Amy Sutton. Hannah Crisp making the bust through the middle, number 2, and then Scotland going through the phases and finding Amy Sutton on the left wing just to dive over and opening the scoring to make it Belgium 0, Scotland 1. That was all about pace, that touchdown from the Scots through the midfield, wasn't it?
Yep, that's right. They kept the momentum up from the drive, and so that meant the defenses struggling to adapt and position themselves.
And a good finish by Amy Sutton. A little bit of a juggle there, but she kept control of the ball. Belgium looking to strike back straight away. Little bit of slow play through the middle. Hannah Granger-Clemson, number 6, and Yvette Andres Munoz, number 7. Hannah Crisp, meanwhile, for Scotland. A couple of dual code internationals for the Scots there this weekend. She's one of them. She was playing full contact sevens in Amsterdam just a couple of weeks ago. and is now leading the Scots with their campaign here in Nottingham for the Women's Open. Your game against France first up today, how did you find it?
It was a quick encounter. It was a very fast match. The France had very good, excellent ball skills in the drive, so it was tough. I thought we played pretty well. We tried to play our game, yeah, it was what you expect from the Euros.
Belgium, the ball hits the ground. Belgium, one of the smaller nations here. They've brought a few teams, but and similar to yourselves, you know, it's an up-and-coming country in touch. So when you're going into a game against one of the more traditional powerhouses like France, what are you aiming to get out of it?
Well, I guess, yeah, like any match, you go in to try to win, but you also use to learn. And gain experience in high pressure against high pressure teams in high pressure games and very fast teams. Yeah.
And that's what Belgium are learning quickly about this Scottish team, is their ability to drive up through the middle at pace. Suzanne Brownlee, number 10, taking the ball earlier on. Katie Green finds Brownlee again, and then that's a 6 touch. You can see the Scots getting frustrated by the Belgian defence. They thought they should be making more of an effort to be walking out from the goal line. How do you strike that balance in defence about anticipating the pace coming on, but also trying to stay within the rules of the sport?
In terms, do you mean in terms of dropping back early then?
Yeah, within the fives, in terms of because you've got to keep moving forward, but at the same time you're looking to bounce back and anticipate the touch and get back on.
So in the rules, you'll find that it states that once the touch is imminent, then the players can start dropping back, and part of the defenders' jobs that are not making a touch. Is to anticipate this as early as possible and try to make it onto the onside position. And I think of course the defensive formation has a big part to do with that as well.
Amy Sutton gets the ball off the ground quickly. That's Grace Burton. Hannah Crisp. Back to Burton. Crisp again at halfback. Goes for the quick pass. She's a scrum half in 15s. Lots of skills, lots of pace. Unfortunately, the ball goes to ground. Alexandra Ward just can't keep a hold of it there. Belgium definitely let off the hook in that situation there. That was a good opportunity there created by Crisp.
Absolutely.
Belgium bring some fresh legs on, going up their left wing. Bringing the ball back into midfield, looking to stretch the Scots. How important is that? We'll talk about the subbing in just a second. That's the 6 touch turnover. So Scotland may be looking to bring some fresh legs on. How much do you practice that in training?
So I think you find that most teams, especially at this level, but also at club level, have a sub box policy, driving policy, and what you're trying to do is gain meters as well as get everyone off at the same time. So I think at this level you'll actually see that most of the teams will just about sub every set. So it's a huge part, and you practice it a lot.
Scotland, fresh legs on the field. Gabriella Adams with the ball in hand, looking to set play up. Carmen Cree sends the play left. Back it comes through the middle. Tiggy Armstrong. Scotland just looking to stretch Belgium. You can see the Belgian defence scrambling left and right and just holding firm in that situation. As we saw, the unlimited substitutions, you know, if you're playing starting coming from a different sport, so how quickly do you become accustomed to the unlimited substitutions?
Well, I guess I don't come from a rugby or football background myself, but I guess in social matches you tend not to sub. But once you get to tournament level, you're actually quite thankful for the fact that you can sub every set.
Lovely handling there from Gianne Delafontaine just to hold the ball there. 6 touch though. Scotland hold out and go on the offensive again, just on their own 10-metre line for the first touch. In these 40-minute games, Carmen Cree works up the left wing and comes on. In these 40-minute games, when it is so tight, how important is it in terms of the patience aspect of the game?
Very important. So I guess in some of the more part of the game plans, I think a lot of teams would be to wear the other team down, wear the defense down, especially when the other team is fresh. I guess the opportunities don't open up as much. What that means is that at the beginning of the matches, you're going to see that it's much more of a rucking contest.
Belgium almost up to halfway, but it's late in the touch count. It's a very laboured attack there from Belgium. Scotland, complete contrast to some of Scotland's attacking play where they've made lots of meters. Belgium really struggling. Now, I think this is going to be the 6th touch. Yes, it is. And that was a very tough set of 6 there from Belgium. That, you know, we're only, this is game 4 of day 2, and a lot of teams played multiple games yesterday. This is probably the Women's Open's first round of matches so far today, and already that, as you say, that fitness level is looking to take its toll.
That's right. So in the, I guess, over the course of a match, I think each of the groups that's on the field will probably be on for about 90 seconds or so, and that's basically 90 seconds or 2 minutes of full sprinting. And you repeat that, well, I guess probably like 15 times.
Do you keep do you have a Fitbit? Do you have a tracker to see how many steps, how much you cover in a game?
I don't have that myself, but the Australians have done some GPS statistics on their players. And actually, very interestingly, they found that the most players run at about, I think, maximum 70% capacity when they're actually on the field and playing, and then they go up to 100% when they're sprinting off the field for the subs.
Work hard, get off. Work hard as you're getting off, so to speak.
Exactly.
Belgium restart with a penalty in their own half. It's a good opportunity for them to put some pressure back on the Scots, try to get on level terms, as Jane Gimber, the captain, takes the ball in. Works its way wide to Louise Van Eek on the right wing. 5th touch, one more play for Belgium. Scotland keep their structure, keep their cool in the sun, and shut Belgium down to turn the ball over. Suzanne Brownie takes the touch, works her way off the field. On comes Hannah Crisp with fresh legs. And Hannah showing all of her speed now, just going and selling the dummy. Off she goes to the whitewash, and that is doubling Scotland's lead. 2 touchdowns to 0. All about pace, that one. An individual, a lovely show and go and a bit of individual brilliance.
Yep, she ran a fantastic line as well. Show and go, yep.
Yeah, so we see that just opening the space up for herself. The Belgian winger stays on the Scottish winger, and it's just outright pace and some old-fashioned show and go dummy action from Hannah Crisp, Scotland's 7th international. But Belgium coming back, they've upped their pace since conceding that touchdown. Sophie Deersmaker goes for the line. Having a quick chat with the officials. This hasn't been confirmed yet. I think she thinks that the Scottish player wasn't onside when she made the touch.
There was some fantastic momentum there from Belgium, where they just kept it going until the line.
And that's the really unfortunate thing about that, is that while she was obviously wanting the touchdown, it has taken all of the momentum out of the attack and given Scotland the chance to regroup.
So you'll see actually a lot of diving, I guess, in the game of touch, and I think in that one, if she dived, there was probably a good chance that she would have put that down before the touch.
Hannah Crisp scores at one end, shuts one down at the other. Louise Van Eek there coming close again. Can't get past Crisp. Showing her experience there in defence. It's interesting, she's been attacking in the middle and defending in the link on that one. That's quite unusual at this level.
Actually, at the elite level, often the players have very specific roles. In some of the more elite teams and elite programs, you actually even find defensive-only players and attacking-only players, and quite possibly they're trying to preserve her preserve her pace and attack for attack.
Carmen Cree there on the scoop, coming close to creating another touchdown for the Scots. There was a touch there and a 6-touch turnover, but that's a bad drop there by Penelope Spencer, the Belgian number 10, that's given the ball back to Scotland on the Belgian 5-metre line. This is a perfect attacking opportunity. What are you going to expect in the next couple of touches?
So it looks like they're just going to try to regroup and get themselves and a couple of simple plays to start with.
There goes the dive in from Olivia Harris. Just gets touched on the way down to the ground. Play carries on. Third touch there for the Scots.
So a simple play like that has the effect of forcing the defence to squeeze hard, and we'll see if they look to exploit that space out wide now.
You can see plenty of space on the Scottish right. But that's good shutting down by the Belgians. They kept their defence very tight. There you could see, you know, all 5 players, all 5-6 players virtually within the same screenshot. And that's very, very tight on a 50-metre pitch.
That's right. It's quite a common defensive formation, and the idea of that is most players can't pass 30 meters to the open winger, so most of them will involve a bit of squeezing, as we call it.
Is that going to get given? No, it hasn't. That was a lovely scoop there from the Belgian number 6, Hannah Granger-Clemson. Finds a supporting player, but Scotland regroup and to make the touch. Belgium retain possession, but this delay has given Scotland the chance to regroup on their own line. Is that something you work on a lot in training, your own long passing?
Well, it's part of my passing practice, but I'm not really one with a particularly long range. There are some other guys on the team can throw further than I am, but absolutely, I mean, in men's open, you need to be able to throw cutout passes at least over one player, and then you need to give very reliable passes.
Here come Belgium again. Audrey Commune gets the ball, but then sends a pass after getting touched. That could have been a tap for Scotland. They choose to take the roll ball instead, and it's a decision. Well, it pays off straight away because Belgium were offside and go back 10 further meters. But then when you're looking to defend, I mean, have you played England yet?
No, we played them on the morning of the last day, on Saturday.
So when you know that some of the English mids can, for example, can fire the ball, those 20, 30 meter passes, how do you defend that?
Well, it's tough, but part of it is trying to read the play. The winger and the links have a huge role in that they need to squeeze for the tighter short plays, and then when the pass is thrown, then they need to read that very early and then chase hard. In Germany we've got some great wingers that'll do that for us. Yeah, and that's right.
Scotland opting to keep it tight in the middle as opposed to look for the space out wide. Coming left and right, Katie Green there does find the pass to her right, but that has been given as a forward pass, and Belgium will start again with a tap. They've taken it from the wrong place. A play gets called back. They look just to be getting a bit of momentum to get out from their own 5 meter line. Have just been pulled back. We'll talk a little bit later on about the growth of touch in Germany and on the continent, and did you play in the recent tournament in Berlin?
The Capital Cup?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Oh, it was a fantastic tournament. Yeah.
Just outside the Olympic Stadium in Berlin.
38 teams. It was a fantastic backdrop. Yeah.
Very
historic venue as well.
Yeah, very inspiring as well, I guess.
That's right. Yeah. It's the biggest tournament ever in Germany. So the crew in Touch Berlin did a fantastic job, and and the pitches were fantastic. Excellent organisation. They got a load of full-time refs, and that's what makes the game enjoyable.
Here comes Scotland looking for their third touchdown, and that's another chance that's gone begging. Great scoop through the middle there, and the unmarked player on the right, but can't keep control of the ball. Belgium escape again and clear up their left wing. So in terms of the response for the Capital Cup, because that was a club tournament.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, what was the response from all of the clubs in Germany to see so many teams come over from the rest of Europe?
I think for the clubs in Germany, it was quite an eye-opener. I think there were a lot of players who haven't played clubs at that level before. So they after the first day, the teams were divided up into different groups, depending on where they finished in the groups. So that meant that in the first day the games were seeded such that everyone had to go against the top teams from NTS and some of the weaker teams, and yeah, it was fantastic.
Hannah Crisp goes through the middle once again, finds Amy Sutton on the left-hand side, but gets touched on the way down, and Belgium will come out going into the last minute of this first half. 20-minute halves here in Elite Touch. If you're organising a tournament at home, you don't have to play 40-minute games. You can play 20-minute, 10-minute, 5-minute, 2-minute, but hopefully not that long. You'd have to work very hard in 2 minutes. But then we'll have a 5-minute break and then 20 minutes going the other direction. We're here in the round robin stages and the teams are battling it out for the right to finish in the semi-finals with a chance of the silverware. This has been pulled back for a penalty that's off the mark. You have to play the ball where you got touched. As you can see, the rainbow arc being demonstrated there by the referee. Very clear signalling. That's what you want at this level. A great level, great clearance from the more clear signalling from the referees.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. And the referees also, other than when there are infringements and turnover, they also work very hard to give the players information to keep the game flowing. So telling which players are offside, onside, indicating where the advantages might be able to be played. So yeah, they help us enormously.
And that is half-time. Scotland coming close again through Carmen Cree, but it's still Belgium 0, Scotland 2. We'll be back to talk German touch with Loch Manho in just a couple of minutes' time.
Defend hard.
Scotland playing from left to right in the traditional blue, leading by 2 touchdowns to 0 this 20-minute long second half. Just a quick recap of the rules of touch if you're new to the game and are just joining us for the first time on the BBC Sport website. Very warm welcome to you wherever you're watching around the world. Hannah Crisp, a rare mistake from the Scotland Sevens international. You have 6 players on either side, 2 players in the middle called mids, 2 players immediately outside them on the left and the right called links, and then you have 2 players out wide who are the wingers. The links' job it is to link the play between the mids and the wings. You see what we did there. It's amazing that this understandably the rules of this sport were invented by Australians, and they do call a spade, so with the positions.
That's right. Yeah, pretty straight shooters.
Well, I think I was in Sydney once many years ago and was on top of the Centre Point Tower in the Central Business District, and somebody was giving a bit of a talk about the skyline and what have you, and they pointed out the Blue Mountains, and they said they're called the Blue Mountains because of the blue haze, so of course we're going to call them the Blue Mountains. What else would we do? And that's enough said about Australians and what they call things.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, well, yeah, especially, well, I don't know what exactly the history is, but either you're going to be descriptive with the name, or you're going to use the name of the person who discovered it.
Scotland looking to get the play going in their first serious attack of the half, and that's exactly what's happened. That's a great play. We'll see this on the replay there. The scoop comes in from the middle, as we see coming through here. The Belgian player is offside. The Scots player who picks the ball up can't get touched. That's Katie Green, and she's looking for this. It's a really good initial defence there by Belgium on the man-for-man, and then just breaks down right at the end to open the play up.
Yeah, the job in those situations where the half scoops through, for all the players, all the defenders, is to mark up. That's the common defensive policy, and you got to stay within an arm's length of them.
And the Scots already deep back again in the Belgian half. 3 touchdowns to the goods. Here comes the scoop again, looking to attract from closer range here. No, that's the 5th touch. Good initial opening sets of attacks from the Scots.
Yeah, that's right. Again, using the momentum and putting Belgium under a lot of pressure, and forcing them into positional errors.
Scotland keep play going. A little bit of a break in play for a substitution, but that's the 6th touch and a turnover. And
Belgium's done a good job to defend the set.
Yeah, good response from Belgium, having conceded very early doors. And we saw this in the first half at times, their attack up their wing to get fresh players on. It's a little bit slow there, but Jane Gamble calls for the player to go wide. But we saw that, you know, when it starts to click for Belgium, they do look very dangerous.
That's right. It looks like they've got a solid game plan in place. Just then they were trying to drag the defense wide, so that they can then attack down the middle to finish off the set of 6.
So Scotland coming close to the Belgian line again. Hannah Crisp gets the ball back, comes wide, and it just goes through the hands of the link, Roisin Bolt. But Scotland were playing with an advantage. The referee was playing an advantage, and Scotland get a penalty to restart. So there's 2 types of restarts. There's penalties, and there are roll balls. And penalties are given for things like offside, forward passes, late passes. So once if you pass the ball after you've been touched, and roll balls just if the ball hits the ground, or if a mistake has been made. And that is just where the ball just gets put through the legs, or you just step over exactly what's just happened there, and then you get 6 touches. On the 6th touch, the ball gets turned over to the opposition. Hannah Crisp going wide to the left. Amy Sutton just gets touched on the way down. Another more good defence there from the Belgians.
Great touch from the winger.
Yeah, that was one of those long passes we were talking about in the first half, wasn't it? You can see Hannah Crisp's experience there on the 15-a-side and the 7-a-side from scrum half, being able to play the ball wide out to the wingers like that. And it just was Amy Sutton. Good defence there from the Belgians, but you could see that Amy Sutton was disappointed by what happened there.
So you were asking me about the possibilities to defend long passes?
That was good defence from the Belgians to see that coming. We were talking about how to defend long passes, and Belgium, good example there.
Exactly, and they also put pressure on the passer, and that helps a lot as well.
This is going to be an interesting decision as to whether that's a fresh set of 6. Actually, that's a penalty that's been given for offside. Lots of teamwork from the referees. It's 3 equal officials. There's no single referee and 2 assistants. All of the referees will be in the middle at one point or another. As Belgium look to get their first score of the game. But the half, that's Yvette Andres Munoz, gets touched, and as the half you can't get touched, because then that's a roll ball turnover for the opposition. When you've got 3 referees on, as we see Scotland looking to turn the pace on again. We'll come back to that thought in just a second. Hannah Crisp finds the supporting Fiona Craig. Puts some pace on. Suzanne Brownie up to the Belgian 5-metre line. Katie Green looks for the supporting Amy Martin, and that's a fantastic score there for Scotland. Uncomplicated, straight driving, and a great reward.
So that was all set up by the play beforehand, coming off the drive, and that's got the Belgian defense in disarray. They really needed to cover that corner on the left-hand side, and from them backtracking straight, it all opened up on that side.
Scotland doubling their advantage just 6 minutes into the second half. It was 2-0 at half-time. But Belgium going for the line. Audrey Commune. Is that being given? Yes, it has. No, hold on. Has that been given? There's lots of talk from the officials from the referee to the Belgians.
It was just a touch, as it was called.
Touch on the way through. Good spot there, Lockman. Play continues. There was a bit of a shame there because Audrey Commune had gone all the way through. Showed good pace to break through the Scottish line.
Yeah, that was an excellent run. Yeah, great line as well.
And it all falls to pieces, unfortunately, for Belgium in the next couple of phases of attack. Just to go back to my previous question, when you've got 3 different officials, how do you get used to the different, the way that they all, because everybody will referee slightly differently, so how do you get used to that as a player?
I've done a little bit of refereeing myself, and also my flatmate Renat is also was a level 5 referee, and we talk often about that. And the referees try really try their best to make sure they're consistent in the way they officiate the game, not just between the three of them, but also during an entire tournament.
But you'll see some of the terminology that people will use in terms of whether somebody's calling as to whether you're short or whether you've got to come. That's the kind of terminology. I mean, how do you get used to that?
I think as you play more, you get used to what different refs are likely to use. I mean, there's also different accents to get used to as well, and that's in Europe that's probably a bigger issue.
Belgium finally getting on the score sheet for the first time in this game. 8 minutes gone in the second half. A lovely finish there from the Belgians. Sophia van Gansen showing a swerve, good bit of pace. Just coming inside the despairing attempted touch for the opening score for the Belgians. Just in terms of just going back to touch in Germany, how much has it grown recently?
Well, I would say that we've had a couple of new clubs in the last couple of years, which is great to see, in Heidelberg and also in Hamburg, and so there's a score.
As Hannah Crisp goes through, evades the final touch, and she is over the whitewash. Belgium score, Scotland reply. 4 touchdown difference once again. That's all about pace and just elusive running there from Hannah Crisp. So just to go back to your previous in terms of the growth of the sport and what you take from the experience, not just of the Berlin tournament of a few weeks ago, but also the European Touch Championships.
Yeah, so as I said, so other than we have new clubs, and other than that, I think we've got a lot of younger players coming through as well, a lot of German players. So I think I would say that our numbers haven't necessarily grown that quickly, but I would say the composition's changed a lot. So at the beginning there were a lot of expats, and while there are still a lot of them, our local players are getting much more experience. So I think, and through these European Championships and the Championship permit last year, for example, and that's very encouraging.
Jane Gimber there goes for the line, but she was the half, got touched on the way down. It's a roll ball turnover. Are you seeing a bit of a knock-on, positive knock-on from, because Germany's an up-and-coming nation in 15-a-side rugby union as well. Are you finding a knock-on effect of more people wanting to play touch or wanting to play any kind of rugby?
What I haven't seen that so much in my city of Munich, but there are I think clubs who are trying to link themselves up a bit more with align themselves with rugby clubs, and I suspect they'll probably see the knock-on effects.
Belgium get the ball wide. That's Audrey Commune showing good passing skills there. Bit of physicality we were talking about right at the very start of the game. That's not given as a heavy touch. Play continues. Belgium looking to stretch the Scots. The Scottish defence have to keep making an effort to go forward. And then the ball's gone to ground before the touch was made, and it's a roll ball turn. Well, it's a excuse me. And it's a turnover there for the Scots. And another penalty conceded for offside by the Belgians.
She just tapped the ball before she was a bit overly zealous and tapped the ball before the referee gave the mark.
Scotland take the first touch on their right wing. Hannah Crisp gets the ball back again. Comes off the deck from Amy Martin. She finds Fiona Craig. Suzanne Brownie, one of the speed merchants of this Scottish midfield we've seen all the way through this game. 7.5 minutes to play here in this Women's Open round robin match. And the touchdown's been given. We'll watch a replay just while the treatment comes on. For the Scottish player, can't quite see who it is, but looks like she's landed awkwardly on her hand in that situation. Good bravery there, though, in the touchdown.
Hopefully it's nothing too serious.
One of the things here at the European Touch Championships is a very strong medical team. We've got the, you've seen the sport tape tent in the background. That's where the medics are based. How good is it to have that that kind of support off field from the tournament organisers?
It's great to have that peace of mind, to know that if we do, or a team member gets injured, that there'll be prompt treatment.
Belgium restart. Scotland having increased their lead to 6-1. The last one was definitely given, as we saw, just a little bit of a break in play for the treatment to the injury. And it's one of the things here is the central timing. So there's no stoppage time. The referees have no control over that. You'll have heard the hooters in the background. So even if there's a long stoppage in play, all that does is reduces the available time for the players to actually play. Excuse me, I've got a lump in my throat. Sorry, can you just describe the action a little bit, Lockman?
Yep. Yeah. Okay. So again, Scotland's taking doing a sub box drive, taking it down the sideline, and they gained some excellent meters there on their box drive, and now they've still got a set of line attack to try to score.
Scotland, thank you very much for that. Getting the ball wide. That's Amy Sutton over. The ball goes to hand. We've seen a couple of those hit the deck, but that one held on to perfectly in the dry conditions here in Nottingham. Although the pitch was a little bit greasy early doors, I think they'd watered the pitches overnight, given everything a little bit of a fresh mow and a touch-up before the first games of the day. And a great finish there from Amy Sutton. 7-1 to Scotland, 5 minutes still to play. It all becomes about points difference now in this race for the top four.
Yeah, in tight tournaments like this, that often would make all the difference in terms of also who you play in the playoff. So it's quite important for them to get up the ladder.
Mistake there by Scotland though. Hands of possession back to Belgium. 6 meters, 7 meters out from the Scots line. The offside line is where the referees deem it to be. So although in the rules it's 5 meters, is that the referees will often use the try line as the offside line. So even they see the referee calling the Scottish players back to the try line. Is that do you view that as being hard because you're having to run further back, or easy because you know exactly where you're running back to?
In terms of going back to the referee?
Well, in terms of when the referee's using the try line as the offside line, even if it's you're having to go back 6 or 7 meters in defence.
Well, often I guess the 5 meters is not taken so literally in touch. It's actually more of so it's interpreted depending on level of competition. At the European tournaments, these representative level tournaments, it's more like 8 meters that they pull you back.
So you do practice more in terms of your attacking play or in the shuttle runs running backwards?
I guess they're both part of our training program to actually to practice the plays and also the fitness components for that as well. I guess touch has some quite specific demands in terms of what kind of physical actions we do. So running backwards, for example.
Belgium not able to run backwards quickly enough then, or shut the space down for Amy Martin to go over for Scotland's 8th touch. That was all created there by the pace coming through from the Scots. We were talking before about the fitness levels that would start to play a bit of a role late on in these games, and that's what's happened just there. That's straight driving from the Scots, uncomplicated, just good ball handling, and Belgium not able to cope with it.
Yeah, the link also ran a very good line to go straight into that hole as well. You can create an overlap, but you also need to have the players to finish off the job as well, and they did a great job.
Belgium looking to cut, looking to get a consolation score late in the game. That's exactly what's happened. It wasn't complicated from Scotland a minute ago. That time Belgium send players left and right, and it's Hannah Granger-Clemson who's over for the score. We can see here the 16, that's Sophie Deersmaker, pulls the defender to create space, and Yvette Andres Munoz finds Hannah Granger-Clemson for the touch, and that's a well-created score by Belgium.
Yeah, perhaps the Scots were getting a little bit fatigued as well, and not keeping the squeezing the tight formation as well as previously. But yeah, great touchdown, great switch from Belgium to make that happen.
This contest is over really, but Scotland piling on the points. That's Amy Sutton over once again. We saw her go over for a touchdown just a few minutes ago over in that left side, and that's her getting a second in just a matter of minutes. As I said, this contest was over. Simple rugby skills creates the space for Amy Sutton to go over unopposed.
The Belgians are still maintaining at this stage of the contest a very tight formation. I think perhaps the fatigue is stopping them from sliding with the play as well as they were doing before.
Have you got another game before that Swiss game we were talking about earlier on?
No, I've got a long break. So we had our first game at 9 o'clock, and our next game is at 5:20.
Are Belgium going to finish this game on a high? Yes, they are. 2 touchdowns in the space of 3 minutes. You can see what it means to the Belgians. We can hear in the commentary box what it means to their supporters. It's been a very tight-knit group we've seen from the Belgian players and their families and friends who've made the trip here to Nottingham. Lovely sidestep off her right foot there by Yvette Andres Munoz for the touchdown. Another consolation score for the Belgians. Scotland still leading by 6. A few seconds left to play. So just what's your rundown? What's your afternoon going to be? Are you going to use the facilities here at Nottingham, like go and have a bit of a swim or a stretch and to stay loose?
I think I'm just going to take some time off and chill out a little bit, yeah, and relax before our final game. We do still have a couple of days to go.
Scotland had a penalty. Game can't finish on a penalty. Only finishes on a touch or the ball hitting the ground. Hannah Crisp there gets touched on the Belgian 5-metre line. Couple of consolation scores for Belgium, but it's too little, too late for them, and Scotland run out comfortableness by 9 touchdowns to 3. We'll be back with Dave Rogers for the Belgian men's 40s. We saw them have a great win over Italy yesterday, and they're playing Switzerland in just a couple of minutes' time, and we'll be back then.